Hi bookworms, so today I'm doing a book review of the book Skeleton Keys, Unlocking the Chains Within by J.F. Jules. So this book is generally a self-help book about life and I guess life lessons and learning to make good decisions. I think we all kind of do that. I think we've all, at some point in our lives, made bad decisions. I know I have. We all have. Everyone has. And this is kind of about life lessons and wisdom from the author about her life and decisions she's made and things she's learnt along the way, and her imparting that knowledge, I guess, upon the reader. So I would definitely have to say there are pearls of wisdom in this book that are amazing. Like, for me, resonated really well with me. So, to be a bit more specific, things about forgiveness and how to determine who does and doesn't deserve your forgiveness, how to determine, I guess, how to approach forgiveness, to make sure you're forgiving someone when you are actually forgiving them. So when you're saying to them, yeah, it's okay, it's fine, you're actually believing that, yeah, it's okay, it's fine, you didn't do anything wrong, it's okay, you're forgiven, I forgive you, so on and so forth. And that meant a lot to me, to know what and who to forgive, even if they may not apologise, to learn to forgive them as well. Things like, and this is something that I heard someone else say as well, but it was also in this book, was that sometimes people won't apologise for something, and you kind of have to make peace with the fact that they won't apologise, and to not expect them to, because that gives them the power to determine your happiness, because you're not going to be happy until they apologise. You're going to be stressed out, you're going to think that they're terrible or that they should have apologised to you. Why aren't they apologising to you? Do they not think that you're worth apologising? Do they not think that what they did was bad or hurtful or whatever? So learning to let go of those kinds of things, even if they don't apologise, because that gives them the power to, I guess, control your peace, your inner peace and your happiness. And so learning to let go of that. And there have been cases that I've read and known of where people have actually said that, I don't want their apology. I don't want them to apologise. I forgive them anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't want them to publicly apologise, I don't want them to apologise, I don't need that, because that'll just put my happiness in their hands, and I don't want to do that anymore. And that was something that was in the book that I think resonated with me as well. There were things about courage, and having the courage to stand up for yourself and what you believe in. And that's something I think is really important. A lot of people will believe in something, but they won't make a big deal out of it, or they won't say anything to anyone. They won't stand up for their beliefs when someone else might attack them, because they just don't want to rock the boat, I guess. So they don't defend those that need defending, or the beliefs that they believe need defending, because they just don't want to upset people. And that was another part of the book that I liked as well, was the power of self. So each of the chapters are divided into, power of love, power of self, power of forgiveness, power of so on and so forth. And it explained about how you be yourself and you stand up for what you believe in, and if you lose friends over that, then they probably weren't true friends to begin with. Because if they were really your friend, they would understand, or at least try to understand and accept where you're coming from. The other thing as well was not letting other people's opinions change who you are, because then your friendship will be based on an illusion. And that's not really friendship then, is it? Trust was an interesting one. Trust and respect were points brought up about that I really liked, which were that you can work out who to trust by looking at who respects you. So if someone is respectful of you or respects you as a human being, then essentially they're probably trustworthy. But if they disrespect you, then you can't trust them in that sense. Like, how do I put it? So, let's just use trust in the most common sense. You tell them something that's a secret, and you trust them not to tell anyone else, okay? If they respect you, and they respect your wishes, and they want to treat you like a fellow human being, then they won't tell your secret. They'll keep it. They'll respect that that's what you want, and that's your wishes, and they will keep it. If they disrespect you, they'll go and they'll tell everyone. They'll probably tell the person you want them to tell the least as well. And that's that thing of deciding who you can trust by working out who respects you before you even put your trust in them. Because trust and respect kind of go hand in hand. And I thought that was a bit of an epiphany for me, I guess. I think, and I should be clear, in this case, and this is my interpretation, I could be wrong, my interpretation is the respect they're talking about is respect as a fellow person, not respect as an authority, because that can be quite confusing, and I've gotten into debates with people and talking about respect and, respecting each other, and if you don't respect me, I don't respect you, and it's like, well, or something like, if someone doesn't earn my respect, why should I give it to them to begin with? And that's when you get the confusion between respect in the sense of an authority and respect in the sense of a fellow human being. So you would be polite to anybody in the street. You wouldn't be outright rude. They're just a person. You're just going to respect them because you're going to walk past and not bump into them, and they're going to walk past and not bump into you, because that's just normal. That's treating another person like another person. And I think that's the respect that the author is talking about in that point, where if the person doesn't treat you like a fellow human, then they're probably not trustworthy. The other one that really also, and this one was another kind of epiphany one for me, was about sacrifice. And at first I sort of thought, what do you mean sacrifice? And then I read it, and it was about deciding what's important to you and what you're willing to give up in order for you to have something else. So, most simple, really, really basic way to describe this would be, and I don't know if you've seen my some of my vlogs, you'll understand this, but when I go out shopping or something, I'll see something I like, a book or whatever, and I want it, I really want it, and then I'll stop myself and I'll think, do I really want that? Or do I want XYZ saving goal? So I might be saving for a house, or I might be saving for a holiday, or I might be saving for whatever. So I'd go, do I want that book, or do I want to go on holiday? Do I want that book, or do I want a house? And having to make that decision of, okay, I'm willing to not have this book so that I can go away. And it's learning to make sacrifices for whatever reason, for a bigger thing, I guess. So the example that the author used was sacrificing being right over being happy. So often when we talk to other people or we debate things, we're dead set that we're right. Like, we're right, and if only they saw from our point of view, they'd totally understand and they'd see we're right, and I'm right. And that can cause tension between people and in relationships and things like that. So it's knowing when to say, look, it doesn't matter whether I'm right or not. Who cares? Instead of just pushing the point that you're right, you could just say, you know what, let's just agree to disagree and leave it at that. And then continue on your friendship, relationship, whatever it is that you have. So it's sacrificing that need to be right to continue on the friendship without the contention and so on and so forth. And I thought that was really important because it's, in a sense, prioritizing, but it's learning to see what things you need to let go of in order to have the bigger, better, whatever thing it is. So again, being right versus happiness, the book versus a holiday, that kind of thing. And I thought that was really important. Giving was another thing that got brought up in the book. I think there was a whole chapter about giving. And it's essentially when you give stuff, when you give, whether it's money or stuff or time, or you help others, it'll come back to you, and you will, you'll kind of have whatever you need because you've helped somebody else, and so now you're going to be helped in return. So, in the sense that the way I interpreted it is, if you are willing to help people whenever they need help, they're definitely going to be willing to turn around and help you when you need it. If, I help somebody else out with something, I don't know, I might proofread someone's assignment at some point, or I keep proofreading people's assignments, and I just go, it's okay, I'll do it, it's fine, don't worry about it, it's okay, I'll do it, it's great, awesome, and I give this stuff, and I don't expect anything in return or whatever. But then the next time I'm in trouble, they're going to go, well, she used to proofread all my uni assignments for me, I might help her out with X, Y, Z. And it's this thing of, if you give, people are more likely to give back to you as well, and so whatever you give, you'll get back, in a sense. So I thought that was quite profound, because usually when you think about how to make sure that you're secure financially, how to make sure that everything's okay, how to make sure that you're alright, that you have everything you need, the thought is you must gather, you must hoard, you must collect all you need for winter, for the hibernation kind of thing, and it's more about keeping stuff for yourself than it is about giving. But it's true, if you spend all your time paying attention to what and how everything benefits you, you probably won't get everything you need, or at least you won't get all the things you would have gotten if you had given to people and they had seen that you were very generous and then wanted to return the favour. So yeah, I think especially the giving and the sacrifice side of things were very profound for me. I think they definitely had an impact on me, and how I look at things and think about things. There was also a few really good points at the end of the book, because there's a list of quotes that are like just statements, profound. Some of them are profound, some of them are mentioned earlier in the book as well, kind of statements or quotes that are little nuggets of wisdom, I guess, about life and things like that. And I think some of those are really good. I took a lot away from that. So there's a lot in the book. There's a lot there, because it's not a very long book, but there's actually an awful lot in it, content and wisdom wise. So it's a really good read. The only probably probably the only things that I can say that probably could be improved on was that at the very start of the book, the author states that they're an open-minded Christian. And that's completely fine. Like, I don't mind, that's okay. Cool, great, open-minded, awesome. And they said that they would mention God, and that it would be in more of this is their personal experience and how they believe what they believe and how that impacted the events in their life. And I thought, fantastic. This is going to be a really interesting read. It would be interesting to see the different perspectives and so on and so forth. And I got through the book and I started to feel like it wasn't quite as open-minded as I originally thought it was, or at least maybe that the author thought it was. Don't get me wrong, I come from a long line of Christians, so it's not like I'm coming from this at a completely different angle and just being like, I wasn't included, this is whatever. I'm not being bitter. I'm just saying that there were things that could have been worded differently to be a bit more inclusive of people of different faiths or not of any faith. There were certain phrases, certain things, again, that could have been worded or structured or sort of phrased in a way that was a bit more inclusive, as opposed to being a bit religious, if that makes sense. Like, distinctly off the top of my head, probably the one that also stuck to me was a point about, I think the exact sentence was, "Don't be a closet Christian, stand up for what you believe in, God will reward you." Now that's completely fine from a Christian perspective, but from any other faith or lack of faith, that's kind of a line that doesn't relate, like, it doesn't translate to other religions or to lack of faith. I think things like that could have been phrased in a way that's more like, don't hide what you believe in, stand up for what you believe in, and you will find it rewarding, or you will be rewarded. Like, there were things where it didn't need to specifically be faith-based, but it was, and I feel like that could possibly, impact on those people who are reading it who aren't Christian, and they might struggle to glean the wisdom from that point. There are a few other situations like that. I can't remember them exactly off the top of my head, but there were a few times where I felt like things could have been phrased differently to be more inclusive of people of different faith, or again, atheists, those who don't have a faith. Otherwise, again, it was good. The wisdom that is there, I just think that the way it's been phrased could have been phrased better, and that's the point that I'm making here. The other thing is, I know I said it's a small book and there's a lot in it. I think that it actually would be beneficial if the book was longer. I know that sounds really weird for someone who just said, for a small book there's an awful lot in it. Because I think that some of the points that are made could have been elaborated on or clarified so much better. As I said, at the end there's a whole pile of quotes or nuggets of wisdom, and some of those could do with a bit of elaboration or expansion or clarity as to exactly what they mean, or how, maybe some examples or things like that, because they're good, but I think they need elaboration. And again, this book is good. I think it just needs a bit more elaboration, maybe a few more examples. It's full of a lot of statements, and again, they're profound statements if you understand them, and my concern is, I guess, that not everyone's going to understand them, and I think there were probably some things I didn't fully understand as well, that could have done with a bit of clarification. So really, that is all that's really all that I can think of that could be improved on it. Like, don't get me wrong, it's a great book. It's a really good book. It just needs, I think, clarification and a little bit more to it. Like, I think it should be a longer book and just a little bit more inclusive. Otherwise, it was a really good read. Lots of awesome nuggets of wisdom. Clearly, the author has been through a lot and has a lot of life experience under their belt and a lot of wisdom to impart. And I think that this book is a good way of doing it. It just needs a little bit more meat, I guess, to its content, and to be a bit more inclusive so as to sort of spread that wisdom further. Yeah. So if you liked this review, please give it a thumbs up or a like if you're on Tumblr. Love heart. And if you want to hear or watch any more reviews from me, please hit the subscribe button, or if you're on Tumblr, please follow me. If you want to share this around, go ahead. Would love for other people to hear about this and again, spread the wisdom. And I just hope you guys have an awesome time and read books and love it, and I will see you guys next time.